Hey, it's Caitlin Gear with Switching Gears. Now, I wanted to do a video. There's a lot happening in the world right now, especially with coronavirus. So, obviously, if you haven't been living under a rock, coronavirus, COVID-19, not the Chinese virus, because we are not racist here at Switching Gears, is going chaotically through the United States. It's already passed through all these other countries, China, Italy, Iran, the UK, and it is terrifying, absolutely terrifying right now. We have a plague upon us, and the news is doing a fabulous job, at least in my neck of the woods, of telling the people, educating the people. Right here in the state of Kansas, which is where I reside, specifically Wichita, we have about 30 cases, a little bit more than 30 cases, and it's just crazy. And so I wanted to talk about things that are happening in the world that you may not have heard of because of all the coronavirus coverage. So, a second person was cured of HIV in the UK. Now, this is so amazing. And basically, from my understanding, it was because they were undergoing a stem cell treatment meant for the cancer, but the cells from the transplant came from somebody with HIV immunity, and now they're cured. That's amazing. Another thing that has happened is that scientists have discovered an itty-bitty dinosaur the size of a hummingbird. It's going to become my new favorite dinosaur. I have no idea how to pronounce it, but I already know that I love it and I would die for it. So, in Africa and South Asia, they are having their crops absolutely decimated right now by massively swarms of locusts. And that is terrifying. So we have locusts, famine, plague, and there's a lot to unpack there. Another thing that has happened is Virginia lawmakers have passed a bill essentially capping insulin prices at $50 a month, which is amazing for anybody who has to rely on insulin. I have seen a lot of commentary on this, especially on Twitter, but I do wish that it was covered more in the news. Harvey Weinstein was found guilty in court. So he's basically going to die in prison. And that makes me so unbelievably happy. I'm really proud of all those women that came forward. And speaking of women, I'm also really proud of the women in Mexico, because on March 9th, they did a day without women. Women were highly encouraged to stay home. They were basically on strike. They did not show up to schools. They did not show up to businesses, offices, anywhere. Very, very few women actually showed up on this day, and it actually cost them about $1 billion in losses, or billions. It was a lot of money. And I'm really proud of these women, and they did this as a way of protesting and basically saying how disappointed they were in the gender violence and all of the lack of actions taken against it. Mexico has a really bad problem, and I'm really proud of the women down there. So Mexico had a day without women. And another thing, honestly, this is the only version of Cats that I want to see. There is a version of the movie Cats with buttholes. They CGI'd buttholes on the cats in the movie Cats, and then they thought it would be a good idea to remove those buttholes. People have found out, and now they're wanting the butthole cut of Cats, the movie. There's also some kind of shady things happening with lawmakers and an encryption bill, but I didn't read too much into that, but do know that that is out there in the world, and it doesn't really seem the best thing possible. I did not read too much into it. I don't have more details on it. But that's a lot of stuff that's happening right now that maybe you missed because of the coronavirus. Now, this isn't to make light of the coronavirus, because it is a very real and very serious thing. I'm actually high risk because I have terrible asthma. My parents are both high risk, and it's truly scary. And so I really hope that you are taking the proper precautions, you're staying safe and all of that good stuff. And I wish you nothing but goodness in this terrible, terrible time. I have some really exciting things happening. I have a mic being sent to me. It is on its way after I lost my old one. That is a story for another day. But yeah, I think we're all gonna be okay. I really hope so. So it's Caitlin Gear, switching gears.